Welcome to week 13. This is our last project for Design 320. This is the assignment guide for week 13. This is a 3-week project, so you're going to have plenty of time to really put your best foot forward and do some high quality professional work. It's based on an innovation center project. This is a real world project. The site is near American River College on Winding Way. It was originally done a number of years ago to help the owner of the property sell the property by having a couple of different project proposals for the new owner. And one of those projects, there were a number of project proposals. Some of them included tiny homes. Some of them included low-cost housing. Some of them included high-end development. And they all had a different focus because the property owner wanted to be able to address the needs of a wide variety of potential buyers for the property. And the one that we're going to choose was one that linked an innovation center to the neighboring property. This goes along with our land planning course where we do a segment on commercial land planning. So this was the focus of this project was to take a large existing lot adjacent to a commercial. It's actually a church that it's adjacent to, and offer some possibilities for use. So that part has been done. So your job is going to be to take an existing design concept and do more work on it. These are just sort of like flat layouts. They're not easy to visualize. They're kind of land planning type documents. And so your job is going to be to take an existing conceptual design and create the model visualizations for it. Now, you're still going to have quite a bit of room for latitude. These are again conceptual models, and as you build out your visual model, you're going to have an opportunity to add more details, make some minor adjustments and arrangements, but the overall output that you come up with has to be recognizable as the starting point that you were given. You'll also be given the opportunity to develop your own specifications a little bit deeper. You can't just totally re-specify this thing, but if you have some things that you're going to say are important in the design, you're going to be able to specify those so that somebody who's looking at this can determine how well you've done at getting your idea across. So this project is going to focus on original work based on a pre-existing design. Okay, so I'm looking for original work. Original means that it's come from your own design. Now that I'm expecting that even though it's original, you're still going to go through those steps and processes. I'm not going to make you record them all that we've done in the last couple of projects. Look at things on the web to give you ideas. Pick and choose those concepts and design themes that look like they really fit this use and this model. Identify them, make sure that you're using them. So all of the work that we've done so far is leading up to this. This is a culmination. They call it a capstone project for a course. It will include your ability to model, to do simple mass models like we did in the first couple of weeks, add details as we did in the midweeks, and use your project development and design review skills that we've done for the last few weeks. And you will have 3 weeks to get it done. Almost 3 weeks. So there we go. And let me just show you what you've got to work with. Now remember, our goals are for this week for you to create some design specs, look things over and decide what's going to be the important things that you're going to make sure that you can show in your design. You'll create a site model. So this site has basically just flat stuff, and you're going to create a site model from it. And you'll create a concept model of the Innovation Center. Now, I'll add to that. You'll also, if you want, be able to do, instead of the Innovation Center, the community garden, if you choose that one, or the low-cost housing. So I'll update this here to give you a couple of more options. Okay, but I'd really like you to do the Innovation Center. I'm gonna take that back. I'm gonna lock you down into doing the Innovation Center. Okay, so let's take a look and see what we've got. Here we've got an example. It's 4632 Winding Way. Here is a church nearby. Here's a food bank. And this is what's existing on this property right now. And here is an example of how it can be redone with an Innovation Center and some new housing units. Okay, and the idea on this, by the way, for this particular project was that the church was going to purchase this and develop it as part of their operations, so that they actually had some housing available for members of their congregation and an innovation center where members of their congregation could do a work-live type, work-live model that's very, very efficient from the land planning point of view, and it allows some extra support from the congregation. Okay, so there's one example that we've got. Here's another one by another person, and their version looks a little bit different. Okay, looks like this. Let me see if I can make that any bigger. Okay, so this one has a nice community area also, and it's got an innovation center, and it has some housing more over here. Okay, and so here's another version that you could do. So this one, the community center would look a little bit different. The innovation center. Here's another one where the layout is pretty straightforward. But the Innovation Center, again, is offset away from the road, where you have some housing available and common area use. And so you're going to get to pick one of these. Here's another one. Let's see. Here it is here. I'm not sure if I can get this to turn. But you can take a look at this one. Here again, here's the Innovation Center with some landscaping around it. And here's another one where there's, again, where's this one's the Innovation Center with 2 housing units over here. And this, I think, was meant to keep the vegetation that was already there. So you get to pick one of these basic concept designs, and this week you're going to make a model of the site, not the existing site, but the site as it looks as an example here. So you'll make your landmass, you'll put in some blocks for the buildings, blocks for the innovation center. You'll put in some asphalt if it's required. If there's a bunch of trees, you can do that. So you're going to take this design and basically do a site plan, and then you'll take the innovation center and start planning for potential uses for it. As an example, this one's a 2-story, so you'll figure out what can you do with 2,500 square feet on the first level and 1,500 on the second level. I think that was the only one that had this one has 4,000 square feet on one level. Okay, so you'll make your site plan, very simplistic. Again, it'll be, you don't need a lot of detail, although if you can get more detail in, that's really cool. And then you'll do some planning for what will go into this building and how you might create an innovation center inside of it. Okay, so the arrangement is already done, but the details are not, and that will be for you to model this week. So let's take a look and see what those activities actually are. So first you'll go to that folder and check things out. And part of this is, as you review those proposals, you might make a list of 5 possible businesses that could fill that space for an innovation center. Now, an innovation center is not necessarily for something new and innovative. It can also just be a space where somebody can start a small business without a lot of overhead. So typical things that go in there are, they call them ghost kitchens, where there's a kitchen facility and people can use that kitchen facility on certain days and make up to 30 to 40 meals per day. Health code allows certain things for this, so a ghost kitchen is very useful. Design studios are very useful. Some people like to do the ability to make DIY crafts and sell those. Another spot for an innovation studio would be a hydroponics growth lab, either for what most people do hydroponics are now, or for cannabis, but hydroponics are very, very useful for many other things. You can do a small data serving spot. You could do a music lab or a recording studio. Those are all things that could be done in an innovation space. We've had some people propose some really interesting personal service, personal training, hair, body work, all sorts of things like that have been paired up with very interesting art spaces. So there's another really interesting thing. And one person even in the past suggested putting in a virtual reality space where people could come and experience different virtual reality setups because that's fairly expensive and not everybody can afford it. So those would be some things. You're going to make a list of 5 that you would like to fill the space with, and then choose one of those businesses and think about what features would be specific. Again, one person made a really cool gaming arcade that was transformable. It was easily transformable from a gaming arcade to basically what do you call it? A VR entertainment spot where they do a lot of these around the world live VR casts. And so that was a cool one. Another person, by the way, thought that they would make a virtual reality um, acting stage so that people could act in virtual reality and then assemble it all together into a cool thing. So people have done a lot of cool things with this. But it doesn't have to be wild. It can be something as simple as I said, a ghost kitchen, service. It could be a place where you just do the background business of something that happens elsewhere, like a drone operation phase. But you want some features that are specific to that type of business, so you can make sure that you can model that in a portion of the innovation space that goes into your model. Okay, and so figure that out and do your good work of your design review, and then make a short specification that's going to allow you to um, focus what it is that you design and make sure that you're meeting your original need. So that's your activity one. Then you'll choose a program. This is very appropriate to SketchUp, Revit, um, Chief Architect, Rhino. You could use anything that you're already familiar with, if or one of the ones that you're learning here. Okay, so choose your package, and then if you think you're going to be getting professional models like from the 3D warehouse or Revit City or something, make sure that you can get to those things for later on. This week you don't need them, but you want to be planning ahead. And then you're going to create a conceptual mass model of the site. This is this shape from this corner to this corner to this corner to this corner. And you'll see that there are dimensions that you can go through. Some of these, I've got one for you that you can get dimensional information off of. And that's the site should be just big blocks. Although you can put in trees, you can do more than that. And then describe how you plan to go about doing your work. I'm going to focus on this innovation center and do the interior, or I'm going to do the exterior, or I'm going to do the landscape, or I'm going to do the systems, whatever it is you do. And then make sure that you're identifying key aspects of the site as they're shown on here. Make sure that these things are all keyed and annotated properly. And then finally, for this week, create a conceptual model of the innovation center. Okay, and so start with a simple plan and a layout of what you propose your model to be. Annotate it. How are you going to build it? Is it going to be a concrete structure, a wood structure? Are you going to make it out of shipping containers? Is it going to be, what is it going to be? And annotate and describe how you plan to do your work. So this one is, again, it's conceptual, but very, you know, you might also include things like whether you're going to include solar panels, is it going to be LEED, all sorts of things like that. And then create some views of your model, exterior and interior, and then make sure that you're meeting your spec. So that's really what we're up to this week, concept models. In the following weeks, you'll be given an opportunity to really flesh them out and do more and really create some good, fine interiors. Now, both Revit and SketchUp have great opportunities for this, great tools. You can choose either one that you're already comfortable with and want to really learn deep, or you can choose the one that you're not so good at because you want practice. And again, we're working on this part right here, preparing, discovering, defining, getting ideas, and validating that our ideas meet the design intent. And next week, we'll start working on implementing this, starting to get more and more details of what we're doing on another person's design. So remember, we're taking an existing design, we're starting to develop it, and we're going to put your own original thought and content into the preparation of that design.